Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is a good morning, and today we welcome you to Redzone UK, where we will previewing the Washington Commanders versus the Seattle Seahawks today at Lumen Field. This is going to be a good one. Commanders finally get to Washington, right? You like to spin on that one? Yeah, I bet you do. But also, we want to also talk about Chase Young and Montez Sweat because we didn't have a show last week because I overslept once again. So I want to hear the boys from the UK's take on how they feel about the Montez Sweat trade right after this.
Wake up. Wake up. Get up. Get up. Wake up. Wake up. Get up. Get up. Wake up. Wake up.
Back to Redzone In the Lab in the UK. I have my boys Scouts and Christian. How are you guys doing on this great morning?
Yeah, I'm good, pal. I'm good. How are you doing? Finally woke up for a change. I like it.
Yep. Oh man, how are you doing, Christian?
All good here, Deuce, man. Good to see you and good to see you out of your bath.
Yep. All right, so we didn't get a chance well, I'm quite sure we all talked about it a whole lot, right? But we three didn't get a chance to talk about the trades for Montez Sweat and Chase Young. So we're gonna start with you, Scouts. Like, what was your feeling? I mean, Montez goes first to the Bears, a high second. Everyone is surprised, excited. Wow, this actually happened. Some people upset because they wanted to keep Sweat and let go of Chase, but that was the first move to fall. What was your initial take on it?
I mean, and we at the time, I always thought that definitely one was going to be traded. It just depended who. So when we got there was a lot of kind of rumors that we were going to get a third from Atlanta. And I wasn't happy with the third round pick because I think that we could have got that in compensation later on if we didn't go out and buy big time in the off season. So I wasn't too impressed with that. But then when it came down to it, when the Bears actually came with a second, and let's face it, this is going to be a high second. You know, at the moment, I think it's about number 34, 35, something like that at the moment of where they're at. I mean, that's literally a first rounder for me. So I'm happy to take that, to be honest. I mean, when you see this contract that he signed as well, I mean, average of 24 mil per year, there's just no chance that we were going to pay that for him. So, but let's face it, his production hasn't been worth 24 mil per year. It's as simple as that. So, I'm happy with that trade. To be fair, I think it's gonna be good value, and whoever comes in next season as new ownership, as in the GM, has got a lot more room to play with. If we need to go up to get an elite tackle, or we can just stay where we're at, it's just going to be very very useful for us. So I'm not too upset about the compensation for Montez.
What about you, Christian?
Yeah, we had a blog on this a few weeks ago, Deuce and Andy. I think, Andy, you was one of the sort of guest contributors as well. I mean, for me, it absolutely brings to a halt, that master plan of drafting first round picks on the defensive line. And I said at the time, was there involvement? We've got the new analytics guy. Is it Eugene Shen? I definitely think he had his hands on this one as well. I'm okay with it. Like Andy said, it's going to be a pretty high second round pick, almost a first. Montez Sweat is very good. We're not going to lie about that. We're moving on already a little bit too quickly to say, Hill and Smith Williams, they're going to produce and contain all this. You've got to be a bit more realistic. Montez Sweat is going to be a big miss, right? He's a very solid NFL player, but I don't think he's that game wrecker for the amount of money that Chicago.
Yeah, 24 mil per year. He's not a game wrecker for that kind of corn.
He's not. No, we haven't really seen that, and so I'm happy with that. Chase Young, I said it for a while now. That was the first year of Ron Rivera. It was his first draft. Okay, I don't think everything was in place then in Washington. I believe that it was the safest pick. It was the easiest pick. Maybe with a bit more due diligence, we might have gone elsewhere with that. I'm not overly bothered about Chase Young going. It reminds me a little bit, actually, but on the other side of the ball with RG3. Fantastic first season. Was he defensive rookie of the year? I think he was, Chase Young.
Yeah.
Really bad injury. Came back really well, to be fair to him. But we even saw with Chase Young 2 seasons in a row when everyone else was back at camp, he wasn't. And I'm just not sure that he necessarily is that team first guy. I could be wrong about that. I don't see these people in the building, by all accounts. Even Del Rio said he was a great guy, good teammate, etc. But like last week when I didn't make an appearance on the podcast, it could be addition by subtraction.
Well, none of us made an appearance, right?
But that was just I suppose in that case, it was just just -3 there. Yeah. Like a kind of like a fat Rob run, -3.
What do you all think about the subtle shots by the Commanders? The not so subtle shots by Chase Young. His comments about not knowing until social media, which I do not agree. Sweat said his agent told him they're represented by the same firm. And I just don't believe that was true. But the Commanders kind of started it, right? Because they post a thank you picture with him in a leg brace, where I know you have other pictures you could have used from this year, right? The language they used to send him off and to Sweat off, Sweat was like, hey, look, have a wonderful career. And Chase Young, thank you. It was just different. And Chase Young comes, he talks about the vibe, winning culture, this, and that. So, Scouts, what do you think that it seems like all the rumors that we've been hearing over the past couple of years seems to be true about that organization and Chase Young?
Yeah, 100%. I just think Chase likes to be. I think he likes to be a football player, as in title, more than actually playing the game. If that makes sense. And that's the reason why, like Christy mentioned there, that he didn't show up to OTAs after time and things that he didn't like. No, I know they weren't mandatory. I know that, but in general, if you're a true team leader, team captain, you're going to be there every single time, and he never was. He was doing all sorts of like after his first, was he doing game shows? This guy doesn't seem across that he's 100% committed to actually playing on the field. And I think I don't know if that's just a kind of he's just not like professional in his own mentality. I don't know, and I don't mean about his work ethic, because he does work hard. You can see all the videos and all the things that he does to get himself in shape. But I'm talking about in general, kind of, he doesn't want to. I don't know. It's like a mentality thing for me. It's like he doesn't really want to play. He doesn't really want to show. And then when he does play, he wants to do his own thing. He's not a team player. Do you know what I mean? He wants to do his own thing. He's very individual. And this game is the ultimate team game. So I just think, I mean, I think, unfortunately, we are better off without him. I mean, I've got signed memorabilia from Chase and all sorts of. I love the guy. However, he hasn't produced enough for us. And then to come out, we kind of slide digged him a little bit, like there you mentioned the photos. And then he slide digged us as well in his first press conference. So you can tell the relationship there wasn't very nice and very good anyway. So I think it was just better just to get rid and just don't worry about his injury history and heartache anymore. So it's what it is.
Yeah. So Christian, I was always kind of under the impression that when Ron Rivera came in for that 2020 pick, that he was, when he came in, the draft work was pretty much already done for that upcoming year. And if you and I think Chase Young was just the obvious pick. He didn't need to scout that, right? If it was the first pick, it may have been a little different. But compared to Chase Young, compared to all other Rivera's picks, and we know how Rivera is when it comes to character and leadership and all those other things, do you think that would have been a Ron Rivera pick It feels like, a couple years into his tenure.
No, I don't. No, and obviously I think he inherited not just that draft, but I think he inherited the blueprint of this defensive line. You know, the because Allen was already there, wasn't he?
Yep.
Was Payne there as well, or did Payne come
Yep.
after? Yeah,
Payne
so
was there.
I think that was
Sweat was there.
yeah, we were trying to create that sort of San Francisco model, wasn't we, to a certain extent? You know, dominant defensive line, and it never really happened. Yeah, I mean, it does seem when we've seen like little snippets of videos, interviews with players leading up to the draft, Washington definitely does the homework on the personality of the players. Now, that doesn't always equate to everything going well. We even saw Jermaine Davis has had a few issues, hasn't he, off the field, despite obviously interviewing very well. But I think sort of team first is very big with Vera. I'm not sure that is the case with Young. I mean, maybe he already knew he was going to be traded because his performance against Philadelphia was very poor, very poor. You know, sometimes when good people like Mark Bullock and others have gone back to look at the film, are sort of, are watching the game at the time. He hasn't been quite as bad as we thought. Against Philadelphia, he already knew he was out the door. And what will be interesting actually is in San Francisco, they've got some really good defensive line guys, and I think they've got to pay a few of them as well. I wouldn't be that surprised if Chase Young's on a third team, going into 2024. I would not be surprised if Chase Young's playing for a new franchise in 24.
Yeah. Good morning, Hawk. Appreciate you for joining us and everyone else that's with us early this morning.
To retort what Christian said, I think as well. I mean, with San Francisco, they have great linebackers as well. So it really does like kind of when there is slight gaps in that D line, they're there or straight away. I mean, Fred Warner's just unbelievable. So, I mean, we've got the ridiculous kind of, awful linebackers, and we get shredded because of it. So I don't know if Ron's trying to copy the San Francisco kind of mold. I'm unsure, but yeah, man.
I would say that maybe he was continuing that when he did draft Jermaine Davis. Because obviously that was a linebacker in the first. So, I mean, he hasn't turned out to be exactly a first rounder, but he might have still been following the same blueprint, Andy.
Maybe. But then after that, he just left it, though. He hasn't, really addressed that area.
No.
Yeah, I mean, you can't keep trying to do something that's, but I think, he even said it. They wanted to be defense for, and that's the most disappointing thing about his tenure, really, is putting so much energy into the defense and continues to have slow starts, to kind of be a fraud type defense where you looking at, top 4 last year, but that's total defense. That's not turnovers. And plus they were on the field out of the top 10 teams, they were on the field the less because we held the ball so much in time of possession last year. And now you have Erg Bieniemy. He didn't care about time of possession. He's trying to score points. So now that's putting that defense back on the field even more. And to your point, Scouts, about Christian Chase Young in 2024, the 49ers have a lot of money that's tied up. Bosa money hits next year. They still got to pay Ayuk. They got to pay a couple other people. And are they going to pay Purdy? So it's so much money tied. But I think Chase Young is going to be very effective in these last 9 games because to your point, Scouts, they have linebackers, they have a defense. They have an offense that can score points, that can give the defense more opportunities to focus on rushing the passer. They have a great defensive coordinator. So I think and then he has Nick Bosa on the other side, which is one of the best, if the best, arguably, you still got TJ Watt, but pass rushers in the league. And you got Chase Young, who's to some people is still a 1A edge rusher. So now you have 2 of those guys. You have interior guys. So I think he's going to be very, very successful in San Francisco, but I don't think that he's going to be with them next year. I mean, San Francisco is, and we think about the trade compensation. There were a lot of rumors about his knee coming out, right? No team wanted to take a chance. They was going to give up like a mid pick, probably 4 or 5. And here comes San Francisco that has 3,000 picks. They have 100 in the third round. So they say, hey, look, take one of these comp picks. It's not going to hurt us. We're going to have more picks. So, it's a great move, both sides. When people realize that we wasn't going to get nothing better than that third round pick.
I just hate that Kyle Shanahan keeps coming to nick our good players at times, like Chuck Williams and, he knows who the top players are in our organization and he keeps coming after them. So,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, man.
All right, Lumen Field. Give us some history, Christian.
Sure. Okay. Well, I was looking back all the way to 2017 when we went to Seattle. And we were minus 6 starters, including 3 on the offensive line. So it was a proper patched up, Redskins team then. Kirk Cousins led us to a 70-yard drive in just 35 seconds to take the win, 17-14. And there were times 2 30-yard throws on the drive. I was going to throw it out there. Do you know who the 2 receivers were for those 2 30-plus drives? Or receptions, sorry.
Was it Garcia? No, Dotson. Okay. Was it Dotson?
Yeah, 2 legends, Brian Quick and Josh Dotson.
Yeah. Brian Quick, oh my God.
Even 1,000.
Yeah. I saw a little, there was a little tweet the other day which said that guys can just sort of like hang around just mentioning football player names and they feel good. So Brian Quick's one of those, isn't he? Just as random as it gets. So yeah, that was a Kirk Cousins masterclass to take us 70 yards there. Overall record, again, is in favor of Washington, 13-6. So we've got the upper hand here. So.
Every time I think of Seattle, and especially when I always notice them when we play them in playoffs and we lose. So
yeah,
so it's a bit like, so I always feel down when I go to play Seattle, especially away from home. I always feel down on it. I'm always like, I think we're going to get beat again here. And
that was the big playoff loss was it was Robert Griffin III, wasn't it? That's when both knees went. So yeah. But yeah, so we hold a good record, and like I said, I thought I'd look back at that 2017 game and those amazing 2 receivers we had. Who needs Deshaun Jackson and Pierre Garçon, or when you've got Josh Stockton and Brian Quick?
Scout, so when you look at this Seattle team and the success that Pete Carroll had with Geno Smith last year, I mean, Pete Carroll is what, 92, 93?
Still, you see him in practice. You see him throwing the ball out on the run. I was like, bloody hell, man, you can throw it better than Geno.
What do you think about this Seahawks team?
I mean, it's not as good as it was, say, last year, but I do think that they've been injured quite a lot on the offensive line, and that's not helped, obviously, Geno's accuracy at all. I mean, he hasn't been anywhere near the quarterback as last season. And yeah, I mean, the problem is that they are starting to get healthy again. And I think they've got a lot more of the O-line back today than you did do last week or even week before. So I can definitely see a little bit of an uptick in their offense today. And plus, we're everybody's get-right team, aren't we? Let's face it. Every team you play, you're struggling. You come to play us, and then they get back right again. So I can definitely see that happening again. But I'm scared of Geno Smith. No, but I'm scared of their wide receivers, especially like DK up against. If Forbes is going up against DK, then it's and it's 1-on-1, then it's game over again. So we need to make sure that we scheme it right this time and not just leave rookies up against like elite wide receivers.
Yeah, I agree. So Christian, they took a whooping last week. The Ravens ran the ball. What they had, 300-400 yards rushing, something like that. Some crazy number rushing, held them to 3 points. Geno Smith hasn't, he's been turning the ball over these last few games because team has been kind of taking Kenneth Walker away, taking that play action away. But running the ball, I mean, people still want EB to run the ball. They want him to slow it down, feed B-Rob. And he keeps telling them week in and week out, you have to pass to win in this league. But with the success the Ravens had, here we come again. Do you believe EB is going to focus more on the run?
Deuce, I don't think he will, no. Washington under EB, we're not going to have this like completely balanced pass and rush game. It's just not going to happen. Interestingly enough, I was looking at some of the perhaps keys to win, and I'm a little bit worried about the O-line still. We have made a few improvements, obviously. We're coming up against a Seahawks defense with, is it Boye Mafe?
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be up against Charles Leno Jr., who I'm still, not madly convinced about. 6 sacks as well he's got this year, Mafe. So that's going to be difficult. But I do think if the O-line can give Sam enough time again, and that internal clock of his seems to be getting better. He's seeing the field better. Seattle, I think they've maybe got a problem with, is it Tariq Woolen? He had an absolutely fantastic 2022. He was being hyped as another Richard Sherman, late round pick who's going to be a star in the NFL. Even was a Pro Bowler last year. He hasn't played that way in 23. Okay. They've got a rookie, albeit a really good one, in Witherspoon on the other side. If I was EB, he's going to look at that and he's going to look at Terry McLaurin and Dotson, and he's going to throw the ball. He's going to go up against those two cornerbacks and think we can get some big plays there. So I think we can't completely abandon the run, and we won't.
No, we definitely won't.
But we're going to, the blueprint is there now, and I like it. This is the NFL in 2023 and going forward. I'm fine with it. Might we get angry today when we abandon the run if we're behind? Yeah, of course we will. We'll be moaning on Twitter and tweeting out, etc. But we've got a blueprint, and I like it.
Yeah. So, Scouts, just thinking about EB for a second, just to kind of go back, you see the progression of Sam Howell as the season goes on. The last couple of weeks, he's been calling audibles, changing the plays at the line of scrimmage. So you can kind of tell there's a plan that EB is following. And that plan consists of throwing the ball 35 times, 40 times a game. Like, that's his plan. Because you think about it, he's auditioning. Sam's auditioning. So the quickest way if you get a head coaching job is to put points up on the board, right? That's for an offensive coordinator. That's the quickest way for you to get a head coaching job. Sam seems he's trusting himself more. He's trusting EB. EB is trusting himself more. He's learning. He's humbling, saying, I did this wrong. I need to do this. And all those things are coming together. Do you think it's going to – because sometimes we see it, and then all of a sudden next game we take a step back. Do you trust in the progression that they will continue to progress from last game? Or do you think it'll be another lateral move for Howell when he takes a step back?
I think it'll continue to improve. I think that the more experience that Sam gets, the better he's going to be, and we've seen that already. Of course, he's going to get hit. You got to treat him like a rookie. Let's face it. I mean, this is his 11th. I think this is his 11th game total in the NFL. Anyone who has under 16, 17 starts, for me, still classes a rookie in my book. I mean, I know technically he's not, but again, and you can see, as you mentioned before, you can see the progression. So for me, it's kind of like just keep learning the things, and I like what EB's doing with him at the moment as well, especially the last couple of weeks. You can see, besides just giving him more responsibility, like you mentioned with the added, now he can audible at the line and stuff like that, where before he wasn't doing that. Now he's able to kind of do a little bit of that, but then also I like all the rollouts and naturally moving the pocket, not making him stay, 5-step drops, 7-step drops, and then getting nailed as soon as he plants his back foot. Now we're moving it out, we're moving it all around the place, and I think that's helping Sam. And Sam's obviously very good on the run, as in throwing the ball on the run. So he's got that like laser arm to be able to do it and do it well, and you can see the difference. You really can see the difference in it. So keep doing it, man. Keep doing it. And as I say, eventually, once we get an O-line that can actually do protect more than 2 seconds, then you can start incorporating a bit more kind of 7-step drops and all the rest of that you like to do. So man, I'm liking it. I'm liking what he's doing at the moment.
Yeah, me too. Good morning, Chase. Hawk says the numbers that Sam throwing for are okay. However, the most important stat is win. That's true. I saw Kirk throw for empty calorie yards and did not translate. to wins, and that's another thing to talk about garbage yards because that's another. But let's stay with Seattle. All right, Scouts. Let's start with you. What are your keys to win?
Keys to win. For me, the biggest one, the biggest one to say is get Sam Howell comfortable early. That's the way. Don't see. Give him the time that he needs to protect to actually go through his reads. That's the key. O line, get it right from the start. No slow starts. No 3 and out of the first game, the first possession. None of those type of things. And then get back into the game a lot better. Kind of the gradually increase that kind of. So I'm looking for. I say the confidence and get the confidence back in the guys, and also with Dotson and all the rest of it, get him back involved early as well. So,
what about you, Christian?
Yeah, you mentioned the Ravens game, Deuce, and obviously the Ravens did have a lot of success running the football, but before that, Seattle was keeping the run down to under 4, even 3.5. I think obviously the Seahawk crowd are quite a big part of their success, or when they have been successful. So yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to get 3 and out from the start if they have the football. Try to stifle the crowd a little bit. Try to stifle the Seahawks rhythm. I mean, Geno Smith, not as accurate as last year. It appears to be less accurate from the pocket. So again, we want that containment, discipline from the defensive line. I think that's going to be important as well. As you noted, though, the Seahawks offensive line is healthier now. They come up against Washington, so I think we've got to bear that in mind as well. So
I think,
sorry,
mate. Yeah, just one other thing that just popped in my head. Then it's about the silent count as well. I think because that stadium is ridiculously loud. It's the loudest stadium in the NFL. So it's designed for sound. It's designed to make the quarterback suffer, kind of unable to understand the plays, like what's being called, and also to get the plays out to his actual players. So, all that kind of that is also very important that we actually get on the same page straight away. We can't afford to kind of those mistakes early doors of false starts and all the rest of it because we're not, the snap count's not right or whatever it is, and obviously it's mostly a silent count, isn't it? When you go to those level of places, so.
Yeah.
So for me, it's kind of that's also so important that we've got to get that right straight away, no messing around.
And it's a huge game as well. Sorry, Juice. It's this is NFC opponent. In terms of our records, they're not completely dissimilar. And if we're thinking potential wild card spots, and maybe that is unlikely with our running, this is a huge matchup. In the English Premier League, we'd call it a 6-pointer. It's one of those real important games. So yeah, you mentioned something really interesting. Obviously, like we're looking to put up points and quickly. And I think the flip of that is you may see a defense on the field a bit more. I think you've got important players like Ridgeway. Is Mathis off IR now as well?
Yeah, Mathis has been available in the last couple of games, but he's only getting maybe 10% of the snaps. He's not getting a lot of snaps at the moment.
Yeah, I think that could be. Yeah, I think the kind of backup guys could be really important going forward. You don't want Allen and Payne out there for huge. I mean, obviously you're absolute starts, but you don't want them out there for huge chunks and really tiring in the fourth quarter. I mean, Washington have had some trouble scoring in the fourth quarter as well. Obviously, we didn't score any points, but neither did the Patriots last week in the fourth quarter. So I think keeping guys healthy, will be quite important for this game as well. So a little bit of Ridgeway and Mathis into the mix will be good.
Yeah, and the F.A. Abada, get him more involved. Need to see a little bit more of him. And to your point, Scouts, Logan Thomas talked about this the other day. He was saying they've been doing silent count for like the last 7 weeks. So that's something that that's normal to them. So that's definitely going to help them if the Seahawks get up early and in the first quarter. So the best thing for us to do is to get up early. Hopefully we can score on the first possession, and if they have the ball, we can get them to a 3 and out because that crowd is going to be hyped, and they get hyped very, very, very quickly. They get hyped very, very quickly. All right, For me, keys to win is to always win up front. Right? I think that's just basic football to be able to win up front. But for also the quick game, it's to continue the quick game. Continue to give that offensive line some confidence because like the quick game, it's been working. And it gives Sam confidence, it gives the O-line confidence, it gives the enemy confidence. Everyone is more confident. We're able to get the ball out faster. You're moving the ball, you're passing the ball. The O-line PFF numbers is going to look great and all those other good things. So that's one of the things. Get the ball out early. And also, like to your point, is then take your shots. I love the game EB called. I think the Eagles was the best game he called. But last week he called a good game too. Quick, take shots downfield. Quick, take shots downfield. Sam is not afraid to take those shots. Even if they're not hitting, it's still a threat. Still take those shots. So I really like that game plan. And if we can do that and we can stop Kenneth Walker, if we can stop the run, we've done pretty good at stopping the run. Last week, the perfect storm happened on that cross blitz. And I don't know what Jamie was doing. He didn't move. He had cinder block fleet and he couldn't get over. And they got but they still ain't even get 100 yards rushing. I mean, they had a 64-yard run and still didn't get up to 100 yards rushing. So if we can make Geno uncomfortable, keep him in a pocket, not allow play actions, I think it'll be an easier game for us to win and for us to manage. Christian, key matchups. Give me your key matchups for today.
Yeah, well, I mentioned it earlier, but obviously I've got the Seahawks outside linebacker, Boye Mafe against Charles Leno Jr. I think that's an intriguing matchup, and by intriguing, I mean worrying. They took Mafe in the second round, I think 2022. He's got 6 sacks already, a strip sack last week against Lamar Jackson, even though the Seahawks were bad. So, that's a little worry for me. You talked about potential regression along this sort of new journey we've got. And I do worry a little bit about the Seahawks on the edge against our O-line. So that's a kind of key matchup. I always say bend, don't break, but we need kind of bend, don't break plus, just a little bit more than that. I think that will be the key. And obviously, I mentioned other matchups. Yeah. Obviously, again, I mentioned before, but I like the matchups on the offensive side of the ball with Terry going up against a potential rookie. I mean, he's a great rookie, but Witherspoon. I like Dotson as well. So, like you say, take those shots. No problem with that. Terry loves a 50-50 ball, and he's going to love a 50-50 ball against a inexperienced cornerback. As good as they are. So. Yeah, that would be from my end.
Yeah, key matchup for me has got to be whoever Forbes is up against. To be honest, I mean, if it's up against DK, then yeah, it's going to be a long game. And again, Lockett as well. If he goes up against Lockett's just so fast, man. It's just unreal. So I'm scared of the deep ball today. I really am scared of the deep ball because we tend to get burned over the top quite a lot. Now, even the Bears put 40 up on us. I mean, come on. Do you know what I mean? So, so my worry and my biggest matchup is going to be whoever Forbes is up against. Because I think Forbes played very well last week. Don't get me wrong. And hopefully that'll be a confidence booster for him. However, he was taking on college-level receivers. Let's face it. I mean, the receivers he had were pretty bang average. And, no one's scaring him at that point. Now, this week, it's a different kettle of fish. You've got DK, you've got Lockett. Okay, they might be banged up and they were on the injury report, but they're still going to play. He's still going to play and they're still going to cause havoc. And then you got Smith and Jigba as well. So depending on whereabout they're going to be throwing and whereabout he's going to be playing, for me, that's the biggest matchup because they're going to take their shots against him 100%. And I just hope Del Rio schemes it that he's got some safety help over the top because I think he will continue to get burnt otherwise. So. For me, Del Rio sort it out before it even starts. Just make sure he's got safety help over the top, man.
I had my Andy. I had my hot take as the Commanders not giving up any explosive plays.
Good luck with that, mate. Yeah. I mean,
that means it actually is a hot take. That's not a lukewarm take anymore, is it?
That's really hot. It's like a capsicum hot. You know what I mean? Like
that's erupting volcano hot. So yeah, that's my hot take. 40 yards. Seattle are not going to get that in one play.
Yeah. For me, it's Sam Howell, Tyler Lawson, and Devin Witherspoon. That Devin Witherspoon has been a menace for that defense from that slot position. He blitzes with perfection. I mean, he's Jamal Adams-esque in his prime when he's blitzing a quarterback. So knowing where he is, making sure that protection is set, make sure you know where he is at all times, and also whoever lines up in the slot. Our players, got Jahan Curtis is expected to play, Terry. Like they all move around. They all play different positions and he's going to be lined up against them in the slot. I will let her take advantage of that, especially if they blitzing him. Get the quick route, get the ball out quick, but the hole is right where he left. So that's going to be interesting to see me is to see because, man, this defense hits and they are fast and they hit hard. They so especially around in that box. So
you haven't mentioned Bobby Wagner. I mean, the guy is like Hall of Famer going to be. We haven't even spoke about him.
Yeah.
You know what? The funny thing is, guys, though, I don't think we're too bad against physical teams. I don't think Washington. I mean, you've got exceptions like say David Mayo or what have you, but I don't think we're a slow team. I think Washington roster's got some pretty quick guys out there. Davis is fast. Forbes is fast. Kendall Fuller's still fast, actually.
Yeah, I think so. And Percy is fast. Percy is really fast. But that speed that they have, it's I can't really explain. It's like the game speed is slower than their actual speed. It's because they're processing so much, and that's what's been one of the negatives for Del Rio defense is that you have to process so much, and you can't just go play football. You gotta you always want to communicate. You always want to communicate. Whatever team sport you play, communication is key. But communication in this type of defense is very specific communication. So. That's why sometimes it looks like we're not as fast as we, especially on the big plays, right? For your hot take, it's like everyone is slow. Everyone is always in the trail technique with this defense on those big plays. But Krista gave his hot take. What is your hot take, Scouts?
My hot take is Witherspoon 2 interceptions.
Andy, thanks again for killing a Sunday.
I throw the realism in here, bros. Sam is going to, you ask him to throw the ball 40 to 50 times a game, which is probably going to be what he's going to get again today. He's going to make a mistake or two. It's as simple as that. It's just the law of averages, isn't it? At the end of the day, no one can be perfect throwing 50 times a game. So I can see, as you mentioned before, the matchup against Witherspoon in coverage and stuff like that. I can see why they might try and take a shot at him to see if he can, if McLaurin can upset him or whatever it is. And I can just see 2 picks happening.
Yeah. What's yours for offense, Christian? Hot take for offense.
Oh, hot take for offense. Let me just. Obviously, I had that as a. My hot take was all relating to the to the defense. So thanks for springing that on me, Deuce.
Yeah. See.
Right, if I was gonna,
podcast is different from blogs. You gotta be quick.
Yeah. I do my homework. Okay, all right, off the cuff. Do you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if Howell is under 250 yards, but we still win.
Okay. That's going to be either a defensive game or we're going to be running the ball.
Yeah, I see it.
And it could be both, but that's definitely a hot take. Yep.
Yeah, I see it as a little bit, there's a potential for the game state to be quite attritional again. Even though Washington are slowly trying to not be such an attritional team, trying to be the fast scoring, less run heavy, you can get sucked into a completely different game from what you want to do, from what your blueprint is. I think there is the potential that that blueprint is upset a little bit today, and we are sucked into quite an attritional game. But you can still win with 250 yards. You can win with 150 yards sometimes, but so
got to get good field position. So that's defense has got to step up. Then, if that's the case, got to create turnovers in the half if you want to win with less than that kind of yardage.
Yeah,
that's
why it's a hot take.
It's a hot take. Yeah.
What's yours for defense, Scout? For our defense.
Defense. Our defense. You mean?
Yeah.
Hot take is. Oh, don't be too negative, man. I don't want to be too negative, man. I've still got to say it, man. I still got to say it. Forbes to get Ben for at least 100 yards receiving.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Down emoji.
Just see it in my eyes, you know.
To be fair, Andy's more of a realist than me. We have one win against the poor Patriots team, and I start looking at Super Bowls. So
really won that game. I mean, it's a poor quarterback, man. You know what I mean? If that guy didn't drop that ball, it was field goal range for them.
Yeah,
man. It's scary, man. Scary how bad we can be.
Do you think in our hot takes we've covered every single base? It'd be a high scoring, low scoring, interception,
big plays,
bonanza. Yeah.
For me, I really want, like, this is more of a want. I want the game where Terry McLaurin finally has a game where we see from these other wide receivers, 8 catches, 170 some yards, 2 touchdowns, somewhere around there, because we all see Terry day in and day out. A lot of the great players that's no longer playing, it always gives them, he's the most underrated. He's definitely a top 10. He's this, he's that. But they just don't have we don't have the numbers, we don't have the touchdowns, we don't have the stats or any of that to back it up. Is because of the quarterback play. So I'm really waiting and hoping he has that game fairly quickly. And this is a game where it'll be it's a 4-25 game. So it's just us and the Cowboys, I believe, as far as like the national game, but they have like 93% of the viewership in the US that's going to be tuned into their game. But this is a game where you would expect for him to or hope for him to be able to have that type of game against this defense that's been playing pretty good. So
I hope so, man. I hope so. I mean, we need to start seeing Terry break out a bit more. Making sure that he is like, we know he's a wide receiver 1, but as you mentioned before, national media don't really think he is. He's like, oh yeah, he's good, but is he a true elite wide receiver, etc., etc.? There's always question marks.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I mean, it would be nice to see him actually just absolutely destroy a team. Like Jefferson did to us. 180 yards, 2 touchdowns, all the rest of it all that season. Stuff like that. I mean, that's what we need. I'd love to see that at least one game, especially on the national television. That'd be quite nice.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose as well with the enemy, they get the ball around to all the receivers, don't they, as well? So sometimes it can be hard to do that. Samuel's going to get quite a few receptions. Dotson's going to get receptions. So maybe sometimes with the stats and the touchdowns, it's due to that. That's just my opinion. I mean, you can be a top 10 wide receiver and still not be that absolute go-to Jefferson type.
Yeah, it's just tough to get that recognition at the end of the year. And to your point, Sam Howell connected with 9 different receivers last week. They all had 2 or more targets. I think three or four of those had 4 or more targets. One had 5, 6. Jahan and Terry had 7 and 8 respectively. So he's definitely spreading the ball. And that's another thing. As far as his game, as far as progression and how he's progressing, where I'm waiting to see. And Slim is in the building. Good morning. Good morning. Where I want to see is where he says he looks off the play and the progression and goes right to a mismatch. Like if you have Terry versus a QB2 or a CB2, CB3, a nickel guy, or even a CB1, and you need a crucial down, or you see that as one-on-one, but your progressions is on the opposite side for him, EB to give him that reign to say, check, whatever, and go straight to Terry. That's what I'm looking to see as he continues to progress. I don't think he's there yet, because there's been multiple times we would say you should have, Terry, you go one-on-one when you have that matchup. He's still going through his progressions, which is good, and it's good for his development. It's just like what game and where in that development do we see that?
I think as well that kind of game from Terry might progress as the EB offense progresses as well. I think Terry is, like you say, he's the assignments kind of guy, and he's very team first. If he doesn't get the catch, he's not complaining about it as long as the team gets the reception. I think he's that kind of heavy team first guy. So captain material, isn't he? That's why we love him. Unlike Chase Young, who goes off script.
Very true.
Well, there you go. Let's come right back to Christian. What is your score prediction today?
Okay.
I don't think we're gonna ask scouts.
Yeah, don't ask me because you know what's going to be.
Well, I had a couple of quick spotlight players and then predictions.
Spotlight players. Sorry.
Yeah, you mentioned about. Obviously the Seahawks and the way they are on offense. There's quite a lot going on as well. Mixing up their plays, sweeps, play action, this kind of thing. Geno out the pocket. I think Carrol is a real essential spotlight player today. Eyes and ears of the Commanders defense. And also, I mentioned Emmanuel Forbes Jr. I thought he was settling in a bit more, Scouse. And I've actually got him getting a pick rather than getting burnt for 100. So,
that'd be great if he can. I hope he gets a pick. I mean,
In terms of predictions, again, I think the Seahawks will see this as a very bounce back game for them. Great opportunity to win, and of course, the Seahawks won't win. Washington will win. I think we've got to keep Seattle to about 20 points, and I think we will. I think Dotson and McLaurin have a good day, and Washington put up 24. So we get to an even record with a 24-20 win.
All right. Spotlight player for you, Scouts, and your prediction.
Spotlight player for me is Bobby Wagner. The guy is just... I love the guy. I wish he played for us. No one he left Seattle a couple of years ago. I really hope we got him involved, but unfortunately he went to the Rams. But anyway... great player, future Hall of Famer. He's already got 85 tackles this year. I mean, the guy is always around the ball. He knows where it's going to be. He sniffs it out. He's excellent. Him and Jordan Brooks, actually, but the other linebacker alongside him, two excellent. Linebackers next to each other. Two excellent players. I just think with Wagner, he's just going to be there. So I think our run game's going to be virtually zero. I think it's going to be, we're going to have to pass the ball, which is obviously Bieniemy's specialty anyway. But I don't think we're going to do that well on the ground. I think, it's going to be less than 3 yards a carry on the average. They're going to, but Wagner and Brooks is just going to stop us. Simple as that. They're just that good. And yeah, man, I think score predictions. I think we lose. I think we lose by 7. I'm gonna say 27-20 that we lose.
Yeah, I can see that. One thing that we can do is score points. We definitely can score points. The defense definitely can give up points. So that's the other thing about this defense, why we have to throw so much. I think EB wants that three score type lead if you really want to see him dial back, because the defense hasn't been trustworthy. And few words on that, but for me, spotlight player, like I love watching Tyler Weatherspoon. I watched him play a Monday night game, and he was all over the place. I mean, you can hear his pads rocking on the TV. I can't wait to see him. But I'm going to go Jamin Davis for my spotlight player today. I'm still waiting, man. I'm still waiting on that game where he just, and he had that pick against the Falcons, which was great, but that was a play. That was a moment. I want to see him play well from the beginning to end, and hopefully Del Rio will listen to me. If you're listening, to send him at least 12 times, because we really need to get Geno off his mark, and he's not outrunning anybody. And this will be a good game for Jameis to play chase
this is
down.
why I don't understand why Del Rio's scheme. I don't understand why he doesn't utilize his players
We don't
to their actual strengths. I don't get it.
none of us don't.
Square pegs and round holes and all the rest of it. It's man. I mean, I don't get like Jamin Davis. I mean, when he has gone and he's been sent on a blitz, he looks like an elite pass rusher. He really does. He looks like Parsons flying down there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm thinking, why am we doing this more? You know,
and it was strange because last year, remember the first 4 games, he had like 3 sacks.
Yeah, I was like, why
he just stopped? Yeah. Probably because it was working. If it wasn't working, he would have kept on doing it. So
I just think I just think it's Del Rio, man. I think it's just like this old school dinosaur type of coach, and I think he just needs to go. I mean, he should have went after the Bears game. He should have been fired then, but it is what it is. But yeah, I just hope don't. If one stays next season, Del Rio's got to go anyway. I don't care, man. I think the owners have got to say, hey, if you do well enough that we might keep you, i.e., win a playoff game, for example, Del Rio's still got to be fired. Simple as that. Well, I
was looking on a positive note. I was looking back for the latest blog, guys, for our record between weeks 10 and 14. Coming up to this chunk, I think we are with 11 wins, 2 losses, and 1 tie. 11, 2, and 1 tie.
Yeah, Ryan's a great record in November. That's where all the hype comes from, and the hope.
We get our 4 win streaks every year, isn't it? Around that time. So, yeah, I mean, we could win this game. But again, if we got next week,
Giants.
Oh, we should win that. Well, say we should win that one. Even Danny DeVito played. I mean, we just don't know. We still don't know.
Did you say Danny DeVito?
Yeah, Danny DeVito. Yeah, that's who it is. Really, it's not Tommy DeVito.
Yeah. The breakout game will be against us.
As I said before, we are the get right team for every team that we play against.
I mean, we got the other guy paid $80 million, so we get him paid too. But for me, my score is 24-23 Commanders. You can see it flip in any way. It's supposed to be raining, but I think it's just like a misty shower type Seattle type thing. I don't think it's going to be pouring down. But even in the rain, in our game against the Bills, it didn't matter. The enemy is still going to throw the football. So don't think more rain is going to bring more runs, because that's definitely not going to happen. But yeah, so the game today is at 4:25. So what's that? 10 o'clock your guys' time? 9:25.
9:25. Yeah.
Okay, so it's like a Monday night game. So there you go. 4:25 in Seattle. So later game. So hopefully everyone will be able to to enjoy it. Before we get out of here, Scouts, any last words?
Any last words? Well, just forget everything I've just said in the whole program, and let's just go win this game. Let's go smoke this guy. I want to see us win like 40-0. That's what I really want us to see. I really want to see that. So, just prove me wrong again, Del Rio. Prove me wrong. I'll keep shit on you until you actually start proving me wrong. So, yeah, I want to see that. Bring it on.
What you got, Christian?
As I mentioned, a bit of positivity. This is the stretch when we're usually pretty good. We've got the blueprint of our quarterback and how we're going to play. So I think it's still exciting times, whatever the result today. I like the future of Washington. I like the duo of Bieniemy and Sam Howell. And I hope it continues through the full 17.
Pray for no injuries, yeah, to Sam.
Usually pretty good.
All right, cool. So again, we appreciate all of you for waking up early with us. Where you can find us, and you can find all of our other podcasts and all of our other blogs is in the description. So please like, share, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the podcast. Remember, we appreciate your time. You know, it's very valuable for you to spend it with us. We definitely appreciate it. Do it because you love it, not because it loves you. One beat, one sound, one heart, one love.